Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hard Cannon Podcast. I'm your host, Epic Ray of Epic Ray Comedy, back once again for another week of laughs, and we're gonna jump right into one of our favorite episodes. But I'm gonna leave the title on just for suspense. I'm joined by my buddy Remy and my friend Mari. How you guys doing?
We're
Uh,
good.
yeah, doing all right. How about yourself, good sir?
I'm not too bad. It is a boiling heat down here in Florida, even though it's probably chilly outside based on what this temperature gauge is showing me. But I'm still here living.
Good to hear. Good to hear. It's dark here right now. So I have no idea what's going on outside, but it's been windy and rainy
Well, yeah, it's
for like
like
2 months.
you live in the UK.
Yeah, but still, since the new year, apparently it has rained every single day since the new year, which is normally not. It's not unheard of, but it's not a normal thing for the UK right now.
That is,
There, it's just been snowy here.
and it.
Yeah, I haven't seen snow in ages.
I haven't seen snow ever. I'm not. I'm
Snowy
not in a
and
hurry to see it.
cold. No, don't be. It's pretty to look at. It's not fun to deal with.
I 100% agree with that. I'm happy for like a second. I'm like, it looks cool. Okay, I'm going back in the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like being out in a hurricane, or not a hurricane, but it's been like being out in one of the storms. It's like, oh, this is nice to look at. Okay, I'm wet. I am gross. I'm going inside.
Correct.
I do want to see at least once in my life. Just pet it, touch it, throw a snowball. Like, okay, wonder's gone. I'm good now.
Yeah.
So before we get into the episode, Mari, I want to talk to you about. So I went to go see Cursed Child a couple weeks ago. We had talked about it last time you were on, and the show was very different from what I thought it was going to be. Because I've gone
Oh.
to a couple of plays before, and I've watched what is it? I believe it's Hamilton, and I was expecting somewhat of a Hamilton vibe a little bit. I knew like the special effects and everything were gonna be like different, but I was expecting that. I thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be a little bit slower, but they went very quickly with the play, and even though it was quick, I was in there for two and a half hours most, even though it did not feel like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I honestly like as much as like I love it because it's Harry Potter themed, I don't like it because of how quick it goes.
I agree. And like they blew through like the first act, I think, in maybe 30 minutes, I think. And the talking was so rapid
Yeah.
and everything. It's like slow it down just a little bit so I can process what they're saying in the conversations. Because when they were talking, I'm like, people don't normally talk this quick and this fast, particularly in a lot of
I
conversations
do.
in movies. But I'm guessing this is how the pacing was supposed to go for this play.
Yeah, it is. Because I've also, before I even saw the show itself, I read the screenplay and I'm like, wow, this goes by quick.
Yeah, I did manage to read the screenplay. I read it about a year ago, I think, and like it is a lot of lines. And for the actor who played both Albus and Scorpius were very great at their work. They did a great job, especially since most of the lines in the play came from them. It was very well done.
That's good. I need to get down and see it. I want to see it in New York City so I can see it with Tom Felton.
Yes, and I think he has another month or so, I think, before like they end the season, I guess, for it. So I think you can catch him all the way up till
Yeah.
the end of March, I believe.
Yes. So I'm going to try to do that one weekend.
The one thing I will say about the play that actually made me want to go back was, and if you haven't read The Cursed Child or seen it, skip a little bit so I can go over this really quick. But the scene where it's just Scorpius going back in time and he goes and meets Snape, and the conversation they have with each other is very very heartfelt. But you also see the sacrifice of both Ron and Hermione in that, as well as Snape, and they do an amazing job on the screen and on the play with the Dementor work. Like the way they portray the Dementors and how they look amazing, and the way it was designed and done, it was really really well done.
Yes. I do have to say I agree with that.
And for the way they were using their wands in combat, they used a lot of fire. I was a little bit concerned about, like, possible fire and everything, but they did it really well. Everything was safe, and I was happy to actually see all. It was really well done.
A theater knows what they're doing when they use fire. They would have been fine.
It was. And let's see, the cast came out for their what's the word I'm thinking of, for their, I don't want to say final bow because that's not right. Their encore, I should probably say. And it was pretty well.
Yeah.
But the most heartbreaking thing, I think, in the entire play, and I think I heard some people crying a little bit in the crowd when I was there, was the scene where Harry had to literally watch his parents get unalived. And it's a very dark scene I have to see and hear, and I heard people crying in the crowd. It's a rough scene.
Yeah, it is a rough scene. That was I that's the only thing I don't want to see again if I see it.
Well, they played it mostly through audio, but it didn't make the scene any easier to see or watch. So
Yeah.
because again, he was a baby when all this happened, and now being like a full grown adult, like he has to see this happen, and there's nothing he can do about it.
Correct. This makes it even worse.
But on the topic of the day, it is something very very close to what happened in Gorgic Hollow all those years ago. We're going to be discussing the four Marauders of the story: James Potter, Sirius Black, Peter Pettigrew, and Remus Lupin. And as we talk about our subjects here on the Hardcam podcast, we try and figure out what is their special moment that made them who they are, and essentially set them down a path of the destiny that they would eventually follow, or in a better way, their absolute canon point. So before we jump into that, we should go over each Marauder themselves, just a brief backstory for each one. So, who would you like to pick first?
Uh let's start with Sirius.
Go with Sirius.
Yeah. I love Sirius.
All right. Going on with Sirius, I think out of all the Marauders, I think that Sirius is probably everyone's favorite one out of the four. I probably have to say that, and I could be wrong, but from what I've heard from people who know about the Marauders, know their history and their background, they pretty much are like, Sirius is probably their favorite out of the bunch. Well, he's your favorite, you'd say?
Yeah, him and Lupin, definitely my favorites.
There's something special about the both of them,
Really is.
and honestly, for the
They
both,
match really well together.
they do they mesh really well together. And I think honestly, had Sirius not gone to Azkaban, like his name had gotten cleared in some way. I think we spoke about this last time, that
We did.
if he had the chance to like raise Harry, that he would have had Lupin stay with him in that big old house that they lived in all together, and I
Yes.
think
And
they would have been
Harry would
really,
have been the most sassy kid in the world.
yes, 100%, because he would have had that grounded mentality of Lupin, but he would have had that, we're gonna have a little bit of chaotic fun, which he would have gotten from Sirius, obviously.
Yes.
And something tells me he probably would have been the most skilled the first year to pop up there in a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he definitely would have been.
Yeah, regardless of being the chosen one.
Oh, absolutely. And like I also think,
He would have shown Draco up so quickly.
oh man, the stuff Sirius would have
Draco
taught
would be
him.
hanging upside down from a tree somewhere, or stuck up in the bell tower.
Here's the thing. Would now with the knowledge that he has going in and all of that, do you think he would have gone down his father's footsteps and been a bit of a bully if he would have had both of them, or you think he would have been like he would have been pretty settled, pretty still chill, but just a little bit of that goofiness?
I feel like he would have been more like the Weasley twins. I feel like he would have been like very mischievous and stuff, but I don't think he would have bullied anybody
I agree with that. I agree with that.
because he would have had the level-headedness of Lupin, but he would have been very mischievous, like Sirius.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like both of them as well, both Sirius and Lupin, if Harry had sort of gone towards how his father was acting, it's like, hey, no, like, we loved your father, but no, that did not end well for him.
It took a few years for his head to come down, and we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen to you. Like you're my best friend's son. I love you, but we're trying to make sure that you make it through 7 years of school.
Which he
Yeah.
didn't, if we're being accurate.
Oh, say again.
If we're being accurate, Harry did not make it through all 7 years of school.
You were absolutely right.
Hon-
He is technically a high school dropout.
Honestly, as well,
The only
most of
one,
Hogwarts
only
did make it
trio
through
that went back to school. Hermione was the only one that went back to school.
Yep. She was not going to be a dropout.
She
It's
was
also
like, nah, I
Hermione.
refuse.
Say again, Remy.
Fair.
I say it's also Hermione. What do you expect from her?
The only 18-year-old in a class of 17-year-olds. Yep. Actually, technically, she would be close. She would be 19 because she
Yeah.
turned 18. Both her and Ron turned 18. I think the year from when Harry got picked up to the time the Battle of Hogwarts happened. I think one Hermione and Ron both turned 18.
Yeah, they did.
Okay,
Like
so
she would have
yeah,
been 19 when she went back to school.
I honestly believe she would have been valedictorian or whatever it's called there.
Yeah, probably. She did become Minister of Magic.
That's very also true. Also, I remember us talking about the what is it, the necklace that they had in what is it, the house, the black house. And I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, Mari, because I think I might be stretching a little bit here with this. So with the necklace in itself, it causes extreme negative behavior, anger, hatred, jealousy, all of that. But is it just for
Mhm.
when the person's wearing it, or is it some type of aura that it can reach other
So
people?
yes and no. It it's mostly when it's wearing it, but if it makes the person that's wearing it angry enough, it can start affecting other people around them.
Got it. Okay. Because
Sounds a
it
bit like a Horcrux.
because I was thinking that because with what is it, with the everyone being in the black house, like if it had some type of aura or in some type of way, it would make sense that when people were there, that their negative emotions would be starting to get a little bit more higher. This would explain why Sirius was like a little bitter and angry almost all the time, or it would enhance his emotions a little bit more, especially being in the house and everything. Because
Yeah.
usually when
Which is
Dumbledore gave
why
him say what?
it has to have an aura just because of if you think about any of the reactions to each other in the especially since he I believe stayed in his brother's room during that, and that's where the necklace originally was.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because Buckbeak was put in his parents' room, and his room was locked. So yeah, I believe you're right. He did stay in his brother's room.
Yeah.
So like the negative emotions in the house would have actually amped up a lot of the stuff around there as well, and it also would probably have made creature a lot more like negative as well because he already had those negative tendencies towards Sirius, and him having the necklace on him probably wouldn't have made it much better.
Yeah. Definitely not.
But going back to Sirius's background, so he came from a pure blood family, pretty much like all of the pure bloodedness that they all had. But he was essentially the family black sheep, you'd probably say, and he pretty much just toned all that down. He became the ultimate rebel, as you could probably say, in the entire family. The entire family at that point had been part of Slytherin, and he was probably the first one to be joining Gryffindor. He honestly didn't care. That's probably the biggest middle finger he'd probably give to his family at that point. And
Correct.
he immediately became friends with James on their first train ride there, and they pretty much were brothers the entire time. Because correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. James was an only child; he didn't have a sister or any brothers at all.
Yep. Nope. James was an only child.
So like having Sirius by his side was pretty much like the brother that they each of them probably never had because I'm pretty sure Sirius did not like his brother Regulus, despite the hero that he turned out to be.
So Regulus and Sirius's relationship was very complicated because Regulus tried to, as much as he understood his brother and respected his brother for what he was doing, he tried to appease the family.
Yeah,
So they didn't necessarily get along, but they at least understood each other.
because there's always that one in the family that's like they're the bit of the black sheep. There's the one that's like, hey, it's family first. You take care of the family first, and then there's usually the one that's in the middle. That's usually like the neutral one that's keeping the other two in check. Mostly, it's usually the middle child that's usually going to the older, going to the younger, and like keeping them both in check and making sure like, hey, like I know you guys are in your beef or in your feelings right now, but we got to get this.
Hey, Raheem,
Yeah,
are you an only child?
no, I have a brother.
Yeah, no, the middle child is usually the one causing chaos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The middle child is also normally the one that's essentially forgotten a lot of the
True,
time
true.
Yeah. Yeah,
until the
it's
youngest is
usually
there,
the
and then
middle
they
child that causes
chaos.
chaos.
Well, to in my defense, I'm the youngest of seven kids, so yeah.
Oh, of seven? Dear God.
And I'm probably the most level head of all the siblings.
Yeah. No, if it's two or three, it's usually the younger or middle child that is causing chaos.
And I thought it was the youngest that usually caused the chaos. Well, based on the story of the Peveril brothers, like the oldest was the most chaotic, the middle child was the most like uh how can I put this the right way?
Selfish.
Yes. And then the youngest child learns from the mistakes of the older and the middle child and learns not to do that stupid crap in front of mom and dad.
Which, yes, can be the case.
Not always,
But
but
a
it
lot
can be
of
the
the time,
case.
no. Yes, it can be the case, but 90% of the time, it's usually the milk child causing chaos.
True, true.
Chaos gremlin.
Wait, Remy. Wait,
Well, because it's more of like, oh, oldest child gets all the rules. Middle child just
Yeah.
goes, I don't like any of your rules. I'm going to do what I want. And youngest just gets away with everything no matter what.
true, true. Remy, are you the oldest?
I am the eldest, yes.
Okay.
Me and my technically two brothers.
Okay.
I've got a stepbrother, but yeah, I can say he is a brother to me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, out of all three of us, I am the eldest,
And Mario, are you
so
the
I
middle?
definitely got the rules.
Nope.
Are you the
I'm the
youngest?
baby.
You're the baby. The baby.
I am.
So She's the Chaos Gremlin.
Actually, no.
No, I
That
know
was
you're
Nick.
not.
I'm sad to say
You've met
I'm the
my
chaos.
family, you know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm actually the chaos
You are.
gremlin.
Firstly, Mari, you are a Chaos Gremlin though, when you want to be.
Yeah, but it wasn't as bad of a chaos gremlin.
Hmm.
I'm definitely the chaos gremlin because I say some things to my parents and it's like, how do you get away with that? It's because they know when I'm
You're
joking
the
and they know when
youngest.
I'm being really really serious. And they know if I'm being serious that means something went terribly terribly wrong or I have just thrown caution to the wind at this point. Like the things I've said to my dad, my older brothers are like, "How?" And it's like it's cuz they know me.
Nope. I get that. I get that.
Cuz my mother,
Oh,
she's
to be
like, "How do
fair,
you
my
say?"
family's really chill.
My mother sometimes like,
Yeah.
"How do you get away with saying that to your dad?" I'm like, "Because at this point, he doesn't care what I say, and he's too old to do anything about it."
Ooh,
Now, don't get me wrong, I love him very very much. I do, but we cross swords way more times than we need to.
Uh,
yeah, no. My
Speaking
dad's
of
just a
swords, I
giant
brought all my stuff
goofball.
up earlier.
But Sirius eventually, goes to Hogwarts, becomes from what J.K. Rowling describes him as a very handsome young man, probably the most handsome one of the group. And him and James become great friends, as they say in the book, brothers. Becomes the best man at him and Lily's wedding, and is made godfather to Harry. And he eventually, ends up being betrayed by Peter Pettigrew. The entire group is, and he ends up going to Azkaban, breaking out. I'm going over a quick review of all this, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then we get to year three, which we're going to pause at there. And then I guess we can move on to who should we do next?
Well, since we keep mentioning James, why not James?
All right, let's
Hmm.
jump into
I was just
James.
thinking the same thing.
All right, James, as we already said, is an only child. Um, Mari, you go ahead and take the rest of this.
Ah, let's see. Only child meets like his best friends and his brothers at school. Um, is definitely a little bit more rambunctious than the rest of them in a different way than Sirius is. He tends to be a bully compared to the rest of them, which is never fun. But he does get his act together because if he didn't get his act together, he would have never had Lily.
I agree with that.
Hmm.
And the one thing that gets like people throw in my face all the time when I tell them that I do actually like James is that the big difference between Snape and James is that James changed his ways. Snape chose not to change.
Yes,
Like there is that thing where there's
correct.
that thing when you're kids and people are like, you're like dude, they see you as a kid and like you're not going to be right when you grow up and then you have that point where you're like, you know what? I'm being a little bit too much or I'm being a lot and I need to calm down or I need to start maturing as people say.
Yeah, because there's definitely people like even that I knew the when I was younger that I'm like, oh, they're not going to be fun when we grow up, but then they end up being great people. And I think James was like that. He realized that, hey,
I am the
I
problem.
should be helping people. Just because I used to be the problem, I should be helping people. So he, especially once he becomes an animagus, he steps up and he goes, hey, I'm gonna stop doing this stuff.
Yeah. I think definitely once he became an animagus, it was more. It was also the okay. Now I have to be there and protect my friends as well.
And I
Yeah.
think it's also a responsibility thing that because at this point, once they became successfully became animagus, they knew exactly what would happen. Like they knew they were breaking wizarding law, doing this for their friend, and they knew this is something they had to keep an absolute secret because not only would they have gotten expelled from school, they would have went to Azkaban because this was like a law that you did not break, that you were sent there. So to risk this for a friend, which means there was some maturity growing in there with this.
Also, you can't tell me that McGonagall didn't know.
I think
Oh no,
she had
she
an inkling.
fully knew.
I think she had an inkling of knowing. Yeah, like she's there's no way. Like,
She's an animagus herself, so I'm pretty sure after like a dozen or so times, she's sat there just going, "Hmm, I'm pretty sure at least one of them is an animagus. I don't know who, but I'm pretty sure it's probably James."
and like, did you ever hear about the process to become an animagus? Like, I actually looked it up
Well,
online,
yeah,
and
that
it's
was what I was thinking
extensive.
about. Yes, that's what I was thinking about because like there's that whole period of time where you have to have a leaf underneath your tongue and everything like that, which means they probably couldn't talk that much.
Which probably would have killed James and Sirius a bunch because they seem like the most conversive of the two.
You
Chatterbox is to a
can't tell me
fault.
that Sirius wasn't just talking incessantly, and then one day he's just quiet, and McGonagall's just like, "What's up with you? Nothing," or just
Honestly
shaking
though,
his head like nothing.
honestly though, McGonagall's probably like, "Oh, thank God he actually shuts up for once
And like,
and pays attention."
But
what would you think they also like because they have because it's a mandrake leaf they have to put underneath their tongue in order to carry it for like I think an entire month almost. Like, wouldn't you as a teacher think like,
yeah,
are they chewing gum in my class right now?
was gum a really popular thing then, though?
Gum was like it was a thing in the 80s. Gum was huge in the 50s, 60s and 70s, which was in there. So it was there are people who are big gum chewers.
Yeah.
So
But they're also wizards, so I don't know if really, especially in the school, if they would be really exposed to that.
that's very, very
Gum was
true.
created in 1848.
Oh wow.
It's been around for a long time.
That is wow. Okay, so yeah, definitely
The
it
first
was a
patented, the first time chewing gum was patented, though, was in 1869.
18 what?
Yeah.
That
That
is
was the
definitely
first time it was
something.
actually referred to as chewing gum and not just gum.
Hmm.
Wow. That is wow. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's a long time.
It is. And like
We, if it was created that far back, yes, it would have made its way to the wizarding world.
Okay, that's fair.
they probably were one of the first ones to actually have it, like legitimately have it. So that does make sense.
Yep.
And I wonder how much of the essentially like inventions of the wizarding world slowly made their way to the muggles.
That actually is a good question.
Because even like
Yeah.
mundane stuff would be probably very easily to wizards and witches, but because they've been basically kept as secretive as they were for hundreds of years,
I would
and
not
then
be
eventually like slowly unleashed to the muggles.
I wouldn't be surprised if like there were some vaccines back then. They were like, you know what? There's a lot of muggles down. Why don't we try and just give this to them and just say like, hey, they find some like, hey, you discovered this. We're putting this on you. You discovered this vaccine. This is for muggles now. Just yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, or a very enterprising enterprising witches and wizards.
So
They're just like, you know what, I'm going with this.
I'm gonna go briefly go over. I pulled up the process of the being an animagus. So they have to keep a single mandrake leaf under their mouth from one full moon to the next. If the leaf is removed or swallowed, the witch wizard has to start over again from scratch. And usually full moons aren't usually a month apart. Sometimes they can be a bit longer. So something tells me they were looking these up
Yeah.
in some type of way for that. And then they had to pull the leaf out after the moon, put it in a vial so that it touches the moon's rays, and then they must add one of their hairs. Take this teaspoon of a dew that has not been wait, silver teaspoon of a dew taken from a place that had not seen sunlight or touched by human feet for 7 full days. And let's see, take the chrysalis of a deadhead's hawk moth, which I don't even know what that is. And
It sounds like a very big moth.
Something tells me.
And then it has
Something
to be,
tells me that a lot of this research was done by
Lupin.
Lupin.
And it has to
Would
be
make
mixed.
sense, seeing as he was the most intuitive about it.
And then it has to be mixed in a dark place. And then let's see here. The next thing that has to wait for an electrical storm, which I'm guessing is a thunderstorm. And then from sunrise to sundown, they have to chant Mato and Animo and Amato and Amagus over their heart. So they have to do that for an entire day.
Something tells me they missed class that day.
So I believe that too.
Or they did it during half term.
Either that or it happened to be on a weekend.
Actually, you know when it actually probably would have been the best time for them to do it? During the summer holiday. Once they knew exactly what they needed to do, it would have been perfect for them because they're out of school for what, almost 2 months?
Yeah.
So they have the time to just like do it then. And then like, because I'm pretty sure like if they all just stayed at James's place for the summer, I'm pretty sure they could easily get away with it. Easily.
Yep. So my other thought is that yes, Lupin probably did a lot of research, but at the same time, what if they kept it from Lupin? And like surprised him that they could help him now.
That
Because
honestly,
Lupin's a very by the rules type of person, so he probably wouldn't have liked his friends doing that.
you know what? That'd be a huge birthday surprise for him, honestly. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Because as much as Sirius is like the I'm gonna like play around, I'm gonna joke around type person, he gets serious when he needs to. So he probably turned to like James and Pettigrew and went, "Why don't we do this? But don't tell Lupin." And I got the research.
That sounds like, actually, the way you say that now, that sounds like something they would actually do. That really does. And then like Reapin, like Lupin's like, okay, I'm going out to go do my thing. I'm like, okay, we'll see you later. And then like they all sneak out under the cloak, and then Lupin like goes in werewolf form, and they all just meet him up in animal form.
How long do you think they kept the animal form thing, like, just played as animals for a long time?
I wouldn't be surprised if they just did it as like a hey, let's skip class and then just like run around the castle or like run around the outside.
I mean that's
They
kind of
would
how
do
they did the
that
map.
after Lupin knew.
Yeah.
That's probably when they actually did
No,
the map.
the
So like,
only way
yeah,
they would be able to do the map without getting in trouble.
true.
Because if they went around doing the map like that as themselves, they would have been caught a whole lot easier. But like maybe using Pettigrew
You know,
to map
yeah,
things out,
true. Because
because
what is it?
Pettigrew could have gotten places that most of them can't.
Because Pettigrew probably be the most useful one because if the rest of them are sneaking around the castle, like they could have just Pettigrew go into the rat form because they're rats in Hogwarts. There's no secret about that.
Yeah.
And he could just peek around the corner, and be like, okay, we're good here, okay, and we're back.
Well, until they got together and built the Marauders map.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they would use basically what we're saying is that they would use him to help build the Marauders map without getting caught.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely honestly surprised that the entire 7 years they were there, with the vast amount of knowledge they learned about Hogwarts, the grounds, and everything, they never found the room of requirement. Like that's just incredibly
Well, because they were
surprising.
never searching for something. The removal requirements only appears when somebody like desperately needs something. So the only time that they could possibly have the room requirements appear for them is like maybe when they were looking for things to become animaguses. But other than that, those guys usually had exactly what they needed at their hands. So they wouldn't need a room like the room requirements.
True. And like if honestly if they had known about it like their second or third year, it would have been the perfect place for them to like literally do everything. Like their especially the potions, like what better place to hide a potion that you're trying to make than in a place that very few people know about in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Which is funny if I think about it when it comes to Hermione.
Honestly, that
Like, how many times did she like hide somewhere to build a potion? And you're just like, wait, wouldn't the room of requirements been perfect for her?
well they never would have met Moaning Myrtle. That's true.
Well, who's to say that the room of requirement didn't appear to try and help, but Hermione basically like went past it thinking it was just another door in the castle? Because I know Hogwarts is definitely known for just appearing and disappearing random doors and corridors and staircases.
That is also true, and I think the room, the way going up to the room, I think the either it's astronomy or divination, it goes past that door, so they would have
She
passed
doesn't
it.
know about
Uh,
divination.
astronomy.
Astronomy, so yeah, they would have passed
It
it
goes
in order to
past the
get there.
astronomy. Yeah, astronomy.
Yeah. I know that Hermione doesn't like divination, but did she like the astronomy, or was that also a no?
I don't think so. I think that was another like I don't. Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Well,
I
that would also
think
make sense why she
If it
never found
wasn't
it.
logical, I don't think she preferred. She really didn't like if it wasn't logical.
Yeah.
so. From
Which
what I
again,
understand, they did have an OWL in astronomy because that's when Hagrid got attacked by the Ministry workers in the fifth book, and all three of them were in that class.
yeah.
Just because she had like good scores in it doesn't mean that she liked it.
True.
Yeah. Also, it's Hermione. She would take an owl in pretty much anything just to get the marks for it.
Because because all of them,
Correct.
I'm pretty sure dislike potions incredibly, but that didn't stop them from getting good grades in it.
The only
I think
reason they disliked potions was because of Snape.
True.
I was about to say the same
But
thing. I'm pretty sure
you
Snape's the
realize
main
that
deterrent.
they had to get good grades in pretty much anything because of if you think about their jobs. So their jobs are one comes Minister of Magic. So it's just Hermione, she had good grades and everything. But to become an aura, you have to have good grades in pretty much anything. And I get that Harry and Ron maybe were exceptions, but to do that job in general, you have to know about potions and charms and you have to be good at that job. You have to know those things.
So knowing we know about the class, we're gonna take a slight dip over here. Um, what would you say your top five favorite class would be from the school?
Charms.
Charm.
But I say that's a no-brainer from you.
Not not herbology. I can't. Nope. I'm not. The only plant I can keep alive is roses. Don't ask why. It just is.
Is that the metallic one?
Hey.
To be honest, I have never seen a living plant in your space.
That's because I purposely don't keep them around. Because
That's
I've always had pets.
entirely
That's
fair.
why.
Yeah,
No,
and I
we
know
have a lot
pets
of
and
Lego
plants.
plants around here.
Lego plants don't exactly count.
No, no, we do keep living plants around here. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely charms. I think I would love potions.
Potions would actually be cool. Having
Not as
potions.
maybe not with Snape as my teacher, but I think I would really like potions.
So after playing the Hogwarts Legacy game and everything, I would say my top five would probably have to be. I would definitely take for number five. I'd probably take the magical creatures class. I would definitely take that because I love the animals.
Question though, who would your teacher be?
Hmm.
Because that's going to change that class a lot.
I probably would have to say. Hmm. I probably have to say the teacher before Hagrid. As much as I love Hagrid, the teacher before Hagrid, because I only say that because Charlie went into his field loving dragons, but I don't think he would have loved it as much if the teacher hadn't been good at what they did. That love of dragons
Okay,
grew over those years. Now, do I think him and Charlie
that
were
that
best
is fair.
friends? Do I believe Charlie and Hagrid were good, awesome friends? I 100% believe that because he loves Charlie. He talks about him fondly anytime he gets a chance to.
Yes,
So I probably have to say the
yes,
previous
this is
teacher
true.
before Hagrid. Even though I do believe like I probably see more. I would probably get a good knowledge of the Forbidden Forest with Hagrid, like knowing what's in there, what's not in there, because he had a great knowledge of it. But teaching wise, I probably have to pick the one before Hagrid.
I was going to say
Okay.
Hagrid definitely has more of the obscure teachings. Like he definitely has the knowledge of, okay, so this isn't in the book. However, we have like these like very obscure creatures that people haven't seen in centuries. However, I know a lot about them because I've been raising them for X amount of years.
That's very
Okay,
true.
fair.
And then let's see, number four. Number four would have to be potions. Potions with Slughorn though,
Yes.
because I know that if I take potions with Slughorn, that I'm going to get a vast knowledge, and I know that if I screw up, he's going to be like, "You forgot to do this, didn't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did. All right, your homework is to, I want you to write about what you did wrong, and I want you to come back to class, make that potion on top of the one that you messed up." And I'm like, you know what? That's fair. I'll take that.
It's a teacher, like an actual
I
teacher.
would prefer I would prefer the potions teacher from Hogwarts Legacy.
He would be my number two choice. I do like the way he taught the class because the way he spoke
Yeah,
about the potion. Yeah, go ahead, Mari.
I think he would have been my favorite because of the way he taught. As much as I love Slughorn as a character, he wasn't really my favorite teacher.
Oh, but fire! Oh, absolutely not. Like he's a good potion master. I wouldn't say he's my favorite teacher. No.
Well, that's because everyone's favorite teacher is McGonagall.
I think there is definitely a worse teacher in in the group though.
Oh yeah. Well,
Oh, I
See,
know who I'm thinking of. Who are you thinking of?
I'm thinking the pink one.
Oh, no, that's not who I was thinking of.
I was
Ah,
on.
who are you thinking of?
I
I
was
think
thinking. I was
Dolores is
thinking.
definitely a bad teacher.
How about the teacher that knew nothing about their field?
Which teacher was that?
The one that erased everyone's memories?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was gonna be my second one. So the only reason I didn't pick Lockhart over Dolores is that Dolores is actually an awful person, but also an awful teacher. She didn't teach anything. She basically slapped a rule book in front of people and wrote, "Okay, so if you don't follow this, you're doing it wrong." But the rule book didn't have anything in it. Whereas at least Lockhart at least somewhat did teach. He was just a bad teacher and an awful person at the end of everything.
Very true.
I
So
want to disagree disagree, but you're completely right.
See, I do have some knowledge at some points.
And the thing is that like I could excuse her being no, actually I can't. I could somewhat excuse her
I was
being
like,
a bad person if you
stories.
taught because here's the thing. The thing that puts her way below Snape is that Snape was
Snape actually knew what he was doing.
was an excellent teacher. He was just a bad person.
Snape was an
Yeah.
asshat through and through. Like, but he knew what he was doing. Like, he had incredible knowledge of potions and what they were doing, but he didn't have the charisma to actually run through an actual teaching course.
And
You know
like
who my favorite teacher is, other than McGonagall?
who?
Lupin.
Lupin
Lupin was
was an
such a
exceptional
great
teacher.
teacher.
And I say that strictly because when like they learned so much that year and like the thing that instance that to me stands out for a great teacher is that not only do they inspire their students to learn, but he inspires confidence in them with their work.
Yeah. The one who got Neville into herbology.
Say again?
Lupin's the one who got Neville into herbology.
He was?
Yeah.
I
He
thought
was
it
the
was
one that
Sprout that got him
convinced
into
him to go talk
herbology.
to Matt. He was the one that convinced him to go talk to Sprout more. He was the one who
Oh.
convinced Neville to find something that he loved
Oh, okay.
instead of looking at everything that everyone else was doing.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's
So,
one
like, yes, he had a love for herbology to begin with, but Lupin pushed him. I was like, "Oh, come on, you
Lupin
can
was
do it."
definitely that teacher that, regardless of what his skill sets were, definitely pulled people out of their comfort zones and was like, hey, I see that you like this subject, or I see that you like this thing, go for it. Doesn't matter what anyone else
Yeah.
says, go for it.
now Mad Eye on the other hand or the guy that was Mad Eye.
Barty Crouch Jr.
Yeah, Barty Crouch Jr.
He was a
He was a character.
He
yeah.
portray-
Let's turn a student into a ferret.
I will say, as someone who, throughout the movie and the book that was called Mad Eye, he definitely was mad.
very very much so. Hence the name.
It's a shame that we didn't get much of the actual Mad Eye until later movies, but he basically just kept the
Your even later
like,
books.
That actually
yeah.
made me sad when that he passed so early in the seventh book. That actually, because I could have seen him dying at the Battle of Hogwarts, but it still like hurt me a little bit because I enjoyed his character because you see that character that's gone through like wars and like just everything. They're this battle hardened guy and like you expect him to go out and just in glorious flame and it just like we didn't even get to see what happened. We didn't get to see the fight. Like we just know that he just passed. Like they killed him. That's all we know. That's literally it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes
Something
sense.
tells me she
though.
got tired of writing an extra character, and she just went, "Well, this works."
I feel like that was the case for a lot of the extra characters.
She also
But it
she
all,
didn't. Go ahead, Remy. Go ahead, Remy.
I was gonna say, canonically, it does slightly make sense in the books. It's like, okay, if if Mad Eye was kept alive, like even though the trio didn't like, they knew that the Ministry was infiltrated. They knew that Mad Eye would basically never bow anywhere to Voldemort or any of his cronies.
Oh, absolutely not. Nope.
but without Mad Eye in the picture, that was it with Sirius dead and Lupin pretty much dipped at that point as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like Mad Eye was pretty much the de facto knowledge base, but also the de facto like, hey, we are in trouble, we need help. What can we do? Can you help us?
I can see that. Yeah.
Without that, it's like, okay, if Mad Eye hadn't died, we wouldn't have had any of the events of the 7th book, where they actually basically find themselves, but also get through their the
Ordeal.
mess that happens to the Horcruxes.
And also,
Yeah.
I didn't find this out until recently because I had to double check this like 3 or 4 different times. I did not know that both of the Creevy brothers, Colin and Dennis, both died at the Battle of Hogwarts. I didn't know. I thought just
I knew.
Colin died. Apparently, both of them passed away. I did not know that.
I
Honestly,
didn't either. I knew Colin did.
Yeah, apparently Dennis showed up and like he fought in like the second final battle. So not the first one when they got attacked, but the second one after that. And he ended up getting killed. And I'm like, that's gonna be a really awkward conversation. Because I'm pretty sure Harry's gonna have to go to their parents' house and be like, look, you lost both of them. Like we lost both of them.
honestly though, I think if anything, it would be more of the Ministry that had to turn around and go, "Hey, so we couldn't protect your
We
kids."
sucked.
Yeah.
On
I
that
personally
lovely
don't think
note,
Harry
we
would go.
do have to wrap this up soon.
True. I mean, we can turn this technically into a 2-parter if we need to.
Yeah, we can do that.
But let me see here. How much more time we got left? We got like okay. So with that being said, on the next episode, we're gonna go over the canon points of each of the Marauders, and then we're gonna find out with them as a group, like what was the point that drew them all together, that essentially set them down the path of their destiny as a group together. I think I have an inkling of it, but for now we're just gonna depart. But we will be back in another week. And any last words, Remy, Mari, for everyone?
No, I think you wrapped it up pretty nicely.
Yeah. Pretty solid, to be honest.
All right, I want to thank you both for joining me on this part 1 of 2. But we'll be back once again. And as we all say, this is the Hard Cannon Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
See you later.